What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Redriveraviation. Hope you're on a fantastic day today, and today I have a very exciting model review for you all. Today we're going to be taking a look at the GeminiJets 1:400 scale Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-700 in the current livery. I really hope all of you are excited for today's video, as this is a really unique mold, and definitely excited to take a look at this unique offering, and definitely glad to have it in the collection. So we won't waste any further time and go ahead and get started here with the box. So it is a standard GeminiJets box. Got the CGI Boeing 737-700 Alaska Airlines, made for collectors by collectors. We literally know the drill at this point, so not too much else to break down besides the trademarks, which are correct in a 2019 copyright date when this aircraft came out. There's the pamphlet if you like to read any of that applicable information on this particular airframe, and then there is the plastic where the aircraft would sit if it was inside the box. And of course, we have our Boeing 737-700 right here and ready to present, so let's go ahead and take a look at it, guys. So overall, really solid aircraft. Now again, there's some unique characteristics to this particular aircraft, and I'll denote those as we go through it, but long story short, this is actually the old GeminiJets mold with some updated features. So GeminiJets used the 737-700 mold, this one right here, the older one from, I don't know, I want to say 2003 all the way on, and then of course got winglets at some point all the way until 2015, I believe, and then they got the newer one, which isn't quite as good. And then for, I believe, only two models, there may have been a couple others, but the two US releases I immediately think of are the Southwest Colorado one, Canyon Bluetail, and this Alaska 737-700. They used the old mold again, but they added antennas to it, which was really interesting. So I'm not exactly sure how that happened or why it happened, but it is really cool that there are some of these older 737-700s that do have the mold. Now, unfortunately, this particular release suffered from a pretty rough nose shape. You can kind of see it there, and a couple other features that we'll talk about here in today's video. But again, it's still a pretty nice model, and I'm certainly very glad to have it. I was between this one and the NG. This worked out in the trade, so I was like, hey, that's perfect. So certainly glad to have it. It's a great model, and we're not going to waste any further time. I'll go ahead and zoom us in here to the nose, and we'll go ahead and break down this Alaska 737-700. That's probably just a little much. Let's go right there. Okay. Let's not waste any further time, guys. Let's go ahead and get started here with Chester on the 700. Alrighty, so we got the cockpit windows right here, and then we got the nose cone, which once again, that was what I just mentioned. It's not the prettiest in the world. Is it terrible? No, but it's certainly noticeable with regards to the pointiness. So what can you do about it? But definitely not the end of the world, at least for my standards. Then we have the proudly all Boeing logo, which wasn't true when the model came out. It is once again true. So good job, Alaska, for sticking to your word no matter what the circumstances are. Cockpit windows have a little bit of a weird shape, but they're acceptable here, so I won't get after them too much. Just an observation from my perspective. Here's nose landing gear and nose landing gear door. One of the best parts about this mold was the adequate sizing of the nose landing gear door. It looks really nice right here, so that's certainly really nice to see. So it's definitely glad to get to have that right here. Here's the L1 door, and then you get the window and the lever and all the various details, and we have some sort of writing right there, I believe, so that looks quite nice. Then you get the Alaska Airlines billboard titles, which do look quite nice here. I think they did an adequate job there, so that's quite nice. It's also worth noting that the nose landing gear door has 614 for the registration on it, and then 700 for the the particular aircraft type, and then you have this kind of grayish underbelly, which looks pretty cool. Okay, here's the CFM engine. It looks really good, so you can see the exhaust and the blue on it, so that looks really cool. Yeah, the missing window right there on the 737. What a famous write-up that is. There you got the antenna right there and the emergency exit right there, along with the pad for it, which looks quite nice. Speaking of great detail, here is the beautiful detail here on the flap slats and speed brakes. They did a very good job on that, so I'm certainly very happy to get to see how good of a job they did right there. And then you get the main landing gear right there. One of the cool characteristics about the older mold on the 737 was the tilt back there, so you can see how much farther it tilts back. I actually can get a newer 737-700 mold, and I can show you that that doesn't quite exist anymore. This is a Panda models release right here that I'm going to show you, and you can see how they're straight up and down now. So pretty interesting here how Gemini used to put it back there, but hey, it certainly did the job at the time, so you can't complain with their improvising there in overall effort. So that certainly looks good right there. You do have the bottom antenna, which is really cool. That's a very unique one of the features, so good job there by GeminiJets for exhibiting that here on this particular release. And then you had the registration, which was that 614 I was talking about, November 614 Alpha Sierra. And then you have a light gray, a mid-tone green, a light blue, a mid-tone blue, followed by a really dark navy here to round out Chester, which looked quite nice. Got a little panel there too, so that's really cool. Here's the L2 door. which looks quite nice. You got some good detail in there too. And then you got the Alaska Airlines tail. For clarity's sake, I'll just zoom it out so you can see a little bit better. But overall, it looks really good. I think that they did a really good job representing the beautiful Eskimo himself. Looks very good, and Chester is a fantastic guy in my opinion, so definitely really glad to get to see him here on the Boeing 737-700. Horizontal stabilizers also look really good, great detail throughout, and I think this looks fantastic. Send some different angles of it. Notice the famous view that everybody gets on for the view. You can see how terrible the nose and cockpit windows look from this perspective. Just don't look ahead on if you can. It's certainly not the most pleasing feeling, I will say. Right side of the aircraft's very similar, but you do have the first baggage door under the A and the L there in Alaska. And the second one resides here about on the colors, so that certainly looks really good. And you can see some various area inlet detail. The AP's back here too. It looks pretty good, and all the other characteristics that one would expect on an airframe like this. Top of the aircraft looks really good. You can see you got the antenna there, the beacon, and all the other characteristics that you find on a Boeing 737-700 airplane. And the bottom looks really good. You got the GeminiJets stand hole. You got a beacon down there, and the GeminiJets logo. Again, 2 antennas down there, which looks quite nice. And all the various wing detail and all that looks really great. Bottom of the engines are really good, so certainly a great job with all the detail, and I'm certainly very glad to see all that detail on this particular aircraft. So overall, really cool one. Definitely would love to get on one of these sometime, but I'm really glad to have the model as it does come pretty consistently to Reno especially, but it has made appearances at Albuquerque as well. So definitely excited to use it in more of those updates. I already got featured in the Reno updates actually. So I'm kind of curious how long Alaska will continue to fly these. As you may have saw in the pamphlet, I believe this aircraft was delivered in 1999. That makes this aircraft 25 years old, so it's certainly not the youngest aircraft in the Alaska fleet by any measures. Nor is it, I think that is definitely close to some of the oldest. The Dash 8s were the oldest for a while there, but I think they might have a couple of 737-800s that are slightly older than this, but this is certainly one of their oldest aircraft, and it's not even close. So definitely still really cool. I've been fortunate enough to catch several of these in that area where they typically fly over there in the Pacific Northwest, so that's been really cool. I'm trying to think if I saw these anywhere else, but I think it was just there. I don't think I've seen it anywhere but Seattle. Yeah, I don't remember seeing it at LAX, Dallas Love Field, or anywhere like that. I think it's just there. So they do fly them on a handful of routes like your Spokanes and Reno, like I said, Albuquerque, Portland gets these on a couple of better routes as well. So it's certainly a cool aircraft and a pretty unique one. These are pretty tough to come by in real life, so it's cool that Gemini did decide to make a model of it no matter what. I think their cargo ones are probably just about as common. I think they only have maybe 6 of these or so, not many, it's just a handful. So anyway, though, it's still really cool to have the model of it, and I'm certainly very glad to have it in the collection. Excited to use it for many model airport updates to come. It should be a great aircraft, and I'm really looking forward to the future with it. So with all that being said, everybody, that'll do it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. My name is Redriveraviation. Take it easy, everybody, stay safe, just process, do what you love and love what you do. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as Redriveraviation is signing off.